All Americans, not only in the states most heavily affected, but in every place in this country, are rightly disturbed by the large numbers of illegal aliens entering our country. The jobs they hold might otherwise be held by citizens or legal immigrants. The public service they use impose burdens on our taxpayers. That's why our administration has moved aggressively to secure our borders more, by hiring a record number of new border guards, by deporting twice as many criminal aliens as ever before, by cracking down on illegal hiring, by barring welfare benefits to illegal aliens. In the budget I will present to you, we will try to do more to speed the deportation of illegal aliens who are arrested for crimes, to better identify illegal aliens in the workplace as recommended by the commission headed by former Congresswoman Barbara Jordan. We are a nation of immigrants, but we are also a nation of laws. It is wrong and ultimately self-defeating for a nation of immigrants to permit the kind of abuse of our immigration laws we have seen in recent years, and we must do more to stop it.
We are a generous and welcoming people here in the United States, but those who enter the country illegally and those who employ them disrespect the rule of law, and they are showing disregard for those who are following the law. We simply cannot allow people to pour into the United States undetected, undocumented, unchecked, and circumventing the line of people who are waiting patiently, diligently, and lawfully to become immigrants in this.
Okay, what's going on, everybody? We're here, we're alive. Who was that? Too Much Sauce. He said, I unsubscribed. If I were you, I'd unsubscribe too. I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad at you, Too Much Sauce, for unsubscribing. But thank you all for joining me today, man. We're here, we're live. If you can see and hear me clearly, please drop a 1 in the live chat. And while I'm waiting for the ones to come in, if you haven't already, please make sure you hit the like button. That's the most important thing you can do for me on this channel. What it does, that helps to make sure that those who are subscribed to the channel will indeed get their notifications, and it also helps to push this video through the YouTube algorithm as well. Secondly, if you're new to the channel, or maybe you're one of those ghost watchers, and I've been calling you ghost watchers out, and a lot of you have been fessing up to being ghost watchers in the comment section. If you're one of those ghost watchers, subscribe to the channel. Okay, do me a favor and do yourself a favor and hit the subscribe button and stop ghost watching. Okay, do that for me, please. And also share this video out on your social media platforms to your family and friends. Inform them of this news and information, and it also helps me just a little bit as far as boosting this video and the algorithm is concerned also. And with the ones coming in, let's now get into today's stream. If you see, I can see there's like a pink hue over me right now. I don't know why that happens. It happens sometimes. It hasn't happened in a while, but it's happening now. It is what it is. Let's just move forward with today's stream, right? And what I want to discuss today is the border, which is what I always discuss, right? It's the migrant crisis. But I specifically want to speak on the fact, very little known fact, is that Mexican cartel members are starting to recruit American teenagers to smuggle and or traffic, you can say, illegal immigrants across the border, right? They're starting to use American teenagers to do this. And it's actually starting to become somewhat of a problem because they're paying these teens quite a bit of money. They're paying a lot of people a lot of money on this side of the border. If you all remember last week when we discussed the border wars, you can say, right, between cartel members going on in border towns on the other side of the border in Mexico, I spoke on a story concerning a military man here in the United States who was paid $5,000 by the Mexican cartel so that he can smuggle migrants across the border and through Texas, right? And there was another military man who we didn't dive too deep into, but he was also paid but caught smuggling migrants as well. So now we have military men who are participating in this, U.S. military men that have fallen to the almighty dollar given to them by the cartel members, and also now American teenagers as well. So I want to get into that. There's a few articles that I want to go through very quickly because I think this is very important and people need to know about this information. Thank you very much, Black Spider, for the super sticker. I appreciate your support, Black Spider. Thank you very much for coming through as you do. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I do not exist without you guys' support. But let's jump into this now because I don't hear anybody talking about this at all whatsoever. And that's why you should be subscribed to this channel. So now this here comes from Newsweek. And the article is titled, "American Teens Are Getting Arrested for Smuggling Migrants." Let's dive into this very quickly, okay? Let's jump into this. The article reads as such: American teens are smuggling migrants illegally into the United States at alarming rates. And law enforcement officials told Newsweek that money is the #1 reason that juveniles are entering the transitional crime, or I should say into the transnational crime. Okay. Now, when you scroll down a little bit further, it reads, data updated in January of this year and shared by Texas DPS with Newsweek shows hundreds upon hundreds of seemingly endless recorded arrests and charges associated with human smuggling, with ages of suspected offenders running the gamut. Some offenders born in the early 1960s to some as recent as 2008. In November, 2 Dallas teens were arrested for smuggling. One of them, 17-year-old Jonathan Rodriguez, told News Nation that they were offered $1,300 to transport. He was charged as an adult. And I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm sorry to hear what happened to you, Jonathan. You got caught. And the reason that I'm sorry is because you got ripped off. They only gave you $1,300. They're out here giving folks a lot more than that. Like I said, those military men who got caught, they were getting $5,000 a pop. Okay, $5,000 a ride. You look at it like an Uber ride. I pick you up at the border and I drive you a couple of miles up the road into town, maybe an hour or two into town, into San Antonio or into Austin from the border. We get to your location, $5,000 in my hand. Easy. And these are the people who are caught. Think about the people who don't get caught. And they're doing these $5,000 runs back and forth from the border to San Antonio, from the border to Austin, from the border to Houston, 5K, 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 not getting caught. This is easy money getting made quick, fast. And my man, Jonathan, that $1,300, yeah, it wasn't worth it. And they charge you as an adult too? Nah, man, you got to know your market value. You got to know the market value, man. At $1,300, they ripped you off and you got caught. That's unfortunate. But check this out right here. Look at this ridiculousness. If I remember this correctly, what I'm getting ready to read. 1 month later in El Paso, a 15-year-old male was taken into custody and charged with smuggling and evading arrest, detention with a vehicle that was transporting 5 migrants, later released to Border Patrol, according to NBC affiliates. See, if I'm reading this correctly, and I want to read this one more time, I think they're stating that, yes, they were released to Border Patrol, but they were already also released in general. Let me read that one more time because I could be reading that wrong. 1 month later in El Paso, a 15-year-old male was taken into custody and charged with smuggling and evading arrest, detention with a vehicle that was transporting 5 migrants, later released to Border Patrol, according to NBC affiliates. Okay, so it doesn't say that they were released overall, but if we're being honest, they most likely were released. Those migrants, air quote migrants, were most likely released. If you have these so-called migrants literally knocking down, tearing down barbed wire border wall and assaulting the Texas National Guard, and they're being released with all charges dropped, then most likely common sense tells you that when these migrants get caught in the middle of the smuggling process, they're getting released as well. But what's even more crazy, they get released into the American citizen population, while these American teenagers are the ones who get arrested and charged. Now, that's something to think about, because that is pure insanity. That's pure insanity. Now, we're going to round this article out. States here, Senator Ted Cruz of Texas told Newsweek that many of the gang members who are involved in human trafficking or drug trafficking are teenagers. Whether in Mexico or in the United States, there are tragically a lot of teenage gang members who the cartel utilizes directly for criminal activity, Cruz said. He called the exacerbation. I know I'm saying that wrong right now. Exacerbation. He called the exacerbation of the issue the deliberate result of Biden administration's lacking federal immigration policy. And I 100% agree with him on that. This is the Biden administration's lack of immigration policy that's causing this. The only thing that I disagree with Ted Cruz on is the assumption that these teenagers are gang members. I think he's just putting a little extra sauce on it. Personally, if you ask me, he's just putting like more sauce on it to make it a lot worse than what it actually is, and it's bad overall. But I'm sure there's some that may be teenage gang members, but I'm pretty sure they're not all teenage gang members. You know, because at the end of the day, money calls, and the Mexican drug cartels call too. And they call these teenagers on social media. As you can see here, this is the recruiting tool that they use. Mexican drug cartels using social media to lure teens into the criminal world of human smuggling. But before I get into this, I want to thank Mick007. Thanks, Mick007, for the super sticker. I appreciate you, bro, for the support that you show this channel and for the support that everyone shows this channel. Once again, I do not exist without you guys. So thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate you, bro. And thank you for the support. And also hit the like button if you all haven't already. And if you're ghost watching, subscribe. Okay? Hit the subscribe button. I see you and I'm calling you out. And you're going to have to admit to it in the comment section like everybody else does. Okay, stop ghost watching me. You know you like this content. So let's get into this article right here. Let's dive into this because once again, the cartel is recruiting American teenagers through social media. Let's jump into it. Big wads of cash, guns, and easy profit. It's a message Mexican drug cartels are sharing on social media to recruit teenagers into the criminal world of human smuggling, according to U.S. Homeland Security. And it's a good thing that, you know, that was stated there, because people need to understand. I know some people don't like, you know, I pull information from Fox News. You get it from Breitbart. You know, you get it from, I don't know, Daily Wire. And apparently if you get news from these places, it's not real. Well, this is coming from directly from U.S. Homeland Security. And this is a local news channel here in San Antonio. Okay, so I guess that proves that this is real information and not fake news. Early last year, a 15-year-old driver from San Antonio was arrested after leading Texas DPS troopers on a high-speed chase in Frio County. The teen driver lost control of the truck and rolled over an overpass. The 15-year-old driver and his 12-year-old passenger were arrested, according to DPS. They arrested the 12-year-old too? Oh, man. Dash and body camera video from the Texas Department of Public Safety shows the chaos happening on the southwest border over the last year, including high-speed chases, rollovers, crashes, and behind the wheel. And many incidents are teenagers. U.S. Homeland Security said the trend has sparked a growing concern among law enforcement. When you were a teenager, or when you have teenagers, they think nothing bad is going to happen. They're invincible, said Craig Labrie, special agent in charge of Homeland Security in San Antonio. It's a recipe for disaster, Labrie added. Labrie said transnational criminal organizations are actively recruiting teens to smuggle migrants. We see that in similar vehicles where we see that in smaller vehicles where you're seeing this recruitment of younger people to go use their passenger vehicles or pickup trucks or anything to pick up migrants and bring them to different locations, said Labrie. Last month, a 15-year-old girl. See, a lot of times when you think about this stuff, automatically what comes to mind are 15 or teenage boys. And most likely than not, they are teenage boys, right? But you see some of the girls are getting on the action too. Some of these little teenage females, they're getting in on this action and they're getting this quick money. And we're going to get into how much money that some of these teens are getting out here. Like I said, the $1,300 that Jonathan got in the last article, he got ripped off. He should have got a lot more than that. But let's carry on and finish this article out. Last month, a 15-year-old girl was arrested for human smuggling after leading troopers on a high-speed chase through Hidalgo County, according to DPS. The girl's 14-year-old brother was also charged. Look at how young everyone is. 15 years old, 14 years old, 12 years old. 12 years old? You got 12-year-olds out here. Now, obviously, the 12-year-olds aren't driving, but they're accomplice to the crime. They're out here riding around with their friend or older brother or older sisters, getting this quick, easy money. Because mind you, these are just the folks who got caught. The majority of people don't get caught, but going out here getting this quick money and getting arrested. 12 years old, 14 years old, that's crazy. That is insane. Labrie said some of the teens may not even have their driver's license, or might just have earned their license. Furthermore, Labrie said the teens are being recruited from big cities like San Antonio, Houston, Austin, and not accustomed to driving on rural roads. The next thing you know, it could be a disaster, said Labrie. Labrie said criminal organizations are luring teens on social media with a message of easy money. And the reality is that it is easy money. It's really easy money if you don't get caught. Really easy. Now look at the money that these teenagers made in closing. Feds, 2 Corpus Christi teens bring 5 Mexican citizens into the U.S. illegally. Let's get into this. Corpus Christi, Texas. 2 Corpus Christi teenagers are expected in federal court this week to face charges of bringing in and harboring aliens. Federal agents arrested Abel Jesus Hernandez and Robert Lee Williams in Laredo on Thursday, May 9th. Border Patrol said Hernandez and Williams were in the driver and passenger seats of a vehicle agents pulled over. A criminal complaint stated that Laredo, am I saying that right? Yeah, Laredo North Border Patrol agents conducted a registration check of the vehicle and noticed several people in the vehicle's back seat while the vehicle was striking the asphalt every time it hit a bump. According to the documents, the agents also noticed the vehicle swerving, accelerating, and deaccelerating, suggesting the people inside were trying to figure out who was following them. They were nervous. I'd be nervous too. Agents pulled over the vehicle and found 5 people hiding in the back seat. The agents did an immigration inspection and learned all were citizens of Mexico with no right to enter, remain, or reside in the United States. The agents arrested all 5, but I'm sure they released them. Let's be honest. They released them. Agents noted in the court document that a witness told them he paid $10,000 to help getting from Mexico to San Antonio. I'm going to repeat. Agents noted in the court document that a witness told them he paid $10,000 for help getting from Mexico to San Antonio. These folks are out here getting paid $5,000, $10,000 just to get driven up the block. Like I said, poor Jonathan, he got ripped off. That $1,300 was no money. Military men out here getting $5,000 a pop. This guy over here talking about he dropped $10,000 for that car ride. You know, you transported 5 people over, you know, $10K. It's a lot of money these teenagers are getting. It's a lot of money everybody's getting. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I might have to head on over to San Diego border myself. I might have to head over to the San Diego border and get a quick $5,000 a head. I might have to do that, honestly. Because these guys are making money out here, and I'm trying to get in on it. I'm trying to get in on it. But in closing, like I said, I wanted to make sure to get this to you guys today, because not too many people are keeping up with this type of stuff. They're not keeping up with the 5,000% increase in crime that happened in that small border town in Texas that I reported on this morning. There's a lot of madness going on out here as it pertains to crime that isn't being reported on. Give me just a second. My apologies. That I forgot to plug in my laptop grift, you know, but we're coming to a close anyway. But in between the crime that's going on, you know, in these border towns in Texas, where crime is up 5,000%, but nobody's reporting on it. You have American teenagers being recruited by the cartel, making thousands of dollars, but getting caught as well because they are teenagers and they are sloppy. But think about the kids that aren't getting caught, right? You got teenagers getting paid thousands of dollars. You got U.S. military men getting paid thousands of dollars. There's a lot going on out here that no one's talking about. And that's why you need to be subscribed to the channel and stop ghost watching me, because I'm the only one that's really keeping up with all this. I'm the only one that's keeping up with all this. And I appreciate you all for keeping up with me, keeping up with all this, watching this channel and contributing to the show. So in closing, I want to make sure to give my thank yous. I shouted out Black Spider already. Shout out to Mick007. Shout out to Marcus Majors. I appreciate you. Cartels are going to get watched. By next year. If Trump gets in, all this is coming to an end. The gravy train is over. So it's time to get in while the getting is good. Because after, what is it, November 5th, you know, all that easy money is going to dry up. It's all going to dry up for everybody. And shout out to my man Saul for coming through as he always does with the $5 every live stream. Like I said, man, if it wasn't for Saul, I'd be hurting out here. I'd be broke. I appreciate you, Saul, for coming through. He said, I wasn't even driving at 15. Can't imagine committing any human trafficking. I know, right? I wasn't driving at 15 either. I mean, I got my license at 16, but you know, I get what you mean. You know, I can't imagine at 15 years old, you know, or even younger. So you have 14-year-olds participating in this, 12-year-olds participating in this. I can't imagine at that young of an age where you're barely able to drive, right? I mean, you're barely living life at this point, and you're human trafficking. But, you know, money calls. You know, when they're offering you up $5,000 and $10,000, and you know, I'll give it to the kid Jonathan, who I've been giving a hard time to. You know, $1,300, he definitely got ripped off. But for, you know, a 17-year-old who's living with his parents, you don't have a job and you don't have any real responsibilities, $1,300 is a lot of money. When I was 17 years old, if somebody would have gave me $1,300 to do anything, I honestly probably would have did it myself. But yeah, human trafficking at that young of an age, it's an issue right now. And it's an issue that is in motion literally and only because of Biden's open border policies. That's why this is going on. That's why this is happening. So once again, like I always say, we'll see what happens come November. Either the border is going to end up closed and the money's going to dry up, or the border is going to end up staying wide open, depending on who wins. And if the border stays wide open, you better believe the next 4 years that follow are going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. right? It's going to be crazy because at that point, it's time to, really get in where you fit in before a Republican comes into office the next election cycle, because that's what would end up happening, right? So you're going to see the smuggling on 10,000. I predict and I project in closing, if Biden wins again, I think over the next 4 years, obviously, we're going to go from President Biden to President Harris, because I can't foresee Biden making another 4 years. So we'll end up with President Harris. But I honestly foresee about, I don't know, roughly around 15 million more illegal immigrants crossing the border. I say about 15 million more over the next 4 years. That's if Biden wins. But once again, we'll have to see. We'll have to see. So with all that being said, I want to thank you all for joining me today. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel. Subscribe to the channel if you're a ghost watcher. Share this video on your social media platforms. Hit the like button on your way out. And follow me on Telegram at TD Media Group. The link is pinned in the live chat above. It's in the description box below. And will be pinned in the comment section as well. And I will have the list of all the article links in the description box below, so you can read this stuff for yourself once I shut this stream down, which is right now. Thank you for your time. And until the next video, peace and have a great evening.